Have you ever felt stuck in a negative emotion, such as anger, sadness, or anxiety, because of something that someone else did or said? Have you ever wished you could let go of the past and focus on the present and the future? Then the following advice is for you. Advice everyone would benefit from knowing. The Stoics divided everything that exists into two categories: things that are in our power and things that are not in our power. The only things that are in our power are our own judgments, opinions, desires, aversions, and actions. Everything else, such as other people, events, circumstances, and outcomes, are not in our power, and therefore, not up to us. The Stoics taught that the main source of human suffering is not the external things themselves, but our judgments and reactions to them. We often attach ourselves to things that are not in our power and expect them to be or behave in a certain way, according to our preferences. When they do not match our expectations, we feel frustrated, angry, sad, or anxious. The Stoics argued that this is irrational and futile, since we cannot control the external things, and they are indifferent to our happiness. The Stoics advised us to detach ourselves from the external things and focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions. By doing so, we can achieve a state of inner peace, freedom, and happiness, regardless of the external circumstances. This state is called apatheia, or freedom from passions, which are the irrational and excessive emotions that disturb our reason and judgment. The Stoics also provided practical guidance on how to live a virtuous and rational life by following four cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom is the knowledge of what is good and bad and how to act accordingly. Courage is the ability to face difficulties and dangers with confidence and resilience. Justice is the fairness and benevolence towards oneself and others. Temperance is the moderation and self-control over one's desires and impulses. The Stoics believed that these virtues are interrelated and inseparable, and that by practicing them, one can attain eudaimonia, or a well-lived life. Stoicism can help you detach from external things and cultivate inner peace by changing your perspective and attitude towards them. Instead of seeing the external things as good or bad and letting them affect your emotions and happiness, you can see them as indifferent and use them as opportunities to practice virtue and reason. Here are some examples of how Stoicism can help you detach from different types of external things. People. Stoicism can help you detach from people who cause you distress, such as rude, dishonest, or unkind people. Instead of getting angry or upset by their words or actions, you can remind yourself that they are not in your power and that they act according to their own judgments and ignorance. You can also try to understand their motives and circumstances and show them compassion and forgiveness instead of resentment and hatred. You can also detach from people who you admire or envy, such as successful, wealthy, or famous people. Instead of feeling inferior or jealous of their achievements or possessions, you can remind yourself that they are not in your power and that they are indifferent to your happiness. You can also appreciate their virtues and talents and learn from them instead of competing or comparing with them. Situations. Stoicism can help you detach from situations that cause you distress, such as difficult, unpleasant, or unexpected situations. Instead of complaining or worrying about them, you can remind yourself that they are not in your power and that they are part of the natural and inevitable course of events. You can also try to accept them as they are and adapt to them instead of resisting or avoiding them. You can also detach from situations that you desire or fear, such as favorable, pleasant, or anticipated situations. Instead of being attached or dependent on them, you can remind yourself that they are not in your power and that they are indifferent to your happiness. You can also enjoy them while they last and be grateful for them instead of taking them for granted or expecting them to last forever. Outcomes. Stoicism can help you detach from outcomes that cause you distress, such as failures, losses, or disappointments. Instead of feeling sad or regretful about them, you can remind yourself that they are not in your power and that they are the result of many factors beyond your control. You can also try to learn from them and improve yourself instead of blaming yourself or others. You can also detach from outcomes that you hope or dread, such as successes, gains, or rewards. Instead of being obsessed or anxious about them, you can remind yourself that they are not in your power and that they are indifferent to your happiness. You can also focus on your efforts and intentions and do your best instead of worrying about the results. By detaching from external things, you can cultivate inner peace, which is the state of being calm, content, and rational, regardless of the external circumstances. Inner peace is not a passive or indifferent state, but an active and positive one, where you use your reason and virtue to deal with the external things without being disturbed or enslaved by them. Inner peace is also not a static or permanent state, but a dynamic and progressive one, where you constantly challenge yourself and grow as a human being. Inner peace is the ultimate goal and reward of Stoicism and the source of true and lasting happiness. Stoicism is not only a philosophy, but also a practice that can be applied to your daily life. Your relationships with your family, friends, and partners can be enhanced. Detach from the external factors that affect your relationships, such as opinions, emotions, conflicts, or changes. Instead of being influenced or disturbed by these factors, you can focus on your own role, responsibility, and contribution, and be a good and loyal person to your loved ones. You can also use your relationships as an opportunity to practice virtue and reason by being wise, courageous, just, and temperate in your relationship, choices, behaviors, and communications. Stoicism can help you improve your self-care by helping you detach from the external factors that affect your well-being, such as stress, pain, or pleasure. Instead of being overwhelmed or addicted by these factors, you can focus on your own health, happiness, and virtue, and do what is best for yourself. You can also use self-care as an opportunity to practice virtue and reason by being wise, courageous, just, and temperate in your self-care choices, actions, and habits. Enhance your learning by detaching from the external factors that affect your learning, things as opinions, feedback, or grades. Instead of being influenced or discouraged by these factors, you can focus on your own curiosity, interest, and understanding, and learn for the sake of learning. You can also use learning as an opportunity to practice virtue and reason by being wise, courageous, just, and temperate in your learning goals, methods, and outcomes. You can also use learning as a service to yourself and to others by being humble, open-minded, and generous with your knowledge, and by being willing and able to teach others when possible. Stoicism can help you enjoy your leisure by helping you detach from the external factors that affect your leisure, such as entertainment, popularity, or boredom. Instead of being dependent or dissatisfied by these factors, you can focus on your own creativity, joy, and fulfillment, and enjoy your leisure for the sake of enjoyment. You can also use leisure as an opportunity to practice virtue and reason by being wise, courageous, just, and temperate in your leisure choices, activities, and effects. You can also use leisure as a service to yourself and to others by being mindful, playful, and appreciative of your leisure, and by being supportive and inclusive of others in your leisure. Stoicism is a philosophy that can help us live a good and happy life by teaching us how to detach from external things and focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions. By doing so, we can cultivate inner peace, freedom, and happiness, regardless of the external circumstances. Stoicism can also help us apply this principle to various aspects of our daily life, such as work, relationships, self-care, learning, leisure, and spirituality. By using these areas as opportunities to practice virtue and reason, we can not only improve ourselves, but also contribute to the common good and the harmony of the whole. Stoicism is not a rigid or dogmatic philosophy, but a flexible and adaptable one that can be tailored to our own needs and preferences. The Stoics themselves were not perfect or identical, but diverse and human, and they encouraged us to follow their example, not their words. The best way to learn Stoicism is to practice it and to see for ourselves the benefits and challenges that it offers. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." If you want to explore Stoicism and relationships even further, I recommend this video about why you should stop chasing love.